Hello everybody, welcome back. This is the third part of my solo run. I'm going to be a different costume this time, El Portero, who is that's a Spanish for goalkeeper, so I guess I am supposed to be a member of a soccer team. I can't tell from that outfit if it's supposed to be one in particular. But we were supposed to collect clues in Santa Lucita. Hernando's is now open, and my goodness, it looks like Flameface has taken up residence. Scared off everybody, I wouldn't doubt. Notice he's drinking our brand of tequila, and that appears to be all that the bar stocks. I like this. I like all the villains, really, but Flameface might be my favorite. I like how he's utterly disregarding of you. Also, he's super drunk. So he is apparently a reanimated soul of some kind. Used to people running away, which, to be fair, he's offered to burn us, like, a lot of times. Cursed by the devil himself. It's hard to tell if he's actually a Satan worshipper, or if he's just your run-of-the-mill sadist. And it looks like Kalaka has actually defeated the devil, so this is a pretty high-level villain. For some reason, the group of people that Kalaka has assembled My favorite part about this here is this will happen, not to spoil it, but more than once in the game. He'll fire that gun as long as you let him. And then... Oop, used up all his bullets. He's too drunk to realize that anything else would happen there. Just a cool design. And what I was going to say is, what I like about the team of enemies is each of them have kind of got their own thing going. Like, you get the sense that Flameface and Jaguar Javier probably wouldn't get along too well. Notice that cool Papel Picado hung up in the rafters there. That's just a really cool touch. Anyway, like I was saying, like you get the sense that he and Jaguar Javier wouldn't get along very well, but they've all sort of been assembled under the charismatic leadership of Kalaka. Goodness knows what that thing was doing down here. I like our goat trainer. Everybody seems to watch those telenovelas. I don't know what it is. I said before that the game is not stingy at all with its powers, and like, you know, there are 4 of these motion powers that you can get. So we are at 3 of the 4 right now, and we're like one dungeon in. I don't know if you can see this guy and not just wreck his barrel collection. I don't know if it is physically possible to do that. But I did it the second I saw him, and I have never not done it. Not a big fan of Kasky Splinterface or Firkin Roundbottom, but Little Kevin the Keg is definitely my favorite. I don't know if this guy's supposed to be somebody, if he's like an inside joke, or if it's just this game's weird sense of humor. So like I said before, I am El Portero this time, which is the goalkeeper. In keeping with what you might expect, he is great at throws. His throws all do more damage than regular. That means both the special move throws that we bought from the shop and just regular run-of-the-mill throws. They also go a lot farther, you'll see that in a little bit. But he's not so good with just regular melee attacks. Those do reduced damage. So it sounded like Flameface was definitely going to be in the desert later, and he told us not to go to the desert, so I guess that's where we ought to head. You could go out here earlier, but some things were going to cause you a lot of trouble, and see those guys down there? You think it's a plant? Nope, big ol' spike. Oh, and these flying things are chupacabras. These are both rank among my least favorite enemies. Chupacabras aren't bad, and look at that throw. Chupacabras aren't bad unless you get like 4 or 5 of them all firing at you, and then they are just awful because you cannot do anything. Notice that you can frog slam plants out of the ground. Because you can't hurt these plants at all when their spike comes up, you really don't have a good way of attacking them until now. Your only hope would have been to attack the chupacabra and throw it into the ground and knock the plants up that way. So you could have defeated them, but of course you'd be stymied as soon as you got here, and couldn't get past the green breakable blocks. So they introduced 2 new enemies there, and there is the third. They do give you a lot of novelty in this game. Those are cacti. They have 2 throws there. One is the spiky pine cone, and the other is the grenade. The grenade comes with a handy W marker, which does indeed mean you're supposed to pick them up. They're mostly good as distractions, just because you need to be paying attention. You need to get out of the way of the pine cones and get in the way of the grenades in order to take them out. However, you can simply throw other enemies into them, and that destroys them and hurts the enemy you're throwing. So, oftentimes that's the better use of your money, use of your time, I guess. I don't know if you saw there, but some of the attacks I was doing just basically seemed to do no damage to the yellows. You had to throw them to really do anything like that. It's good to have a lot of open room when you're fighting the armadillos. I almost got him with an Olmec's headbutt, but there's a big wind-up to that. You can see, anytime I do a pile driver with this guy, it is basically deadly. His pile driver attack is just so brutal with El Portero. There is another outfit I showed off in a video before this that I'm going to use later, actually, the Alebrije suit, which always causes you to do massive damage to an enemy. It increases both the attack of your melee attack and your throws. I'm not sure, however, if you do more damage with a throw as El Portero or as El Alebrije, but I might test that out sometime. Honestly, by the time you're doing boosted damage with either one of these suits, it's more than enough to take out just about anything. So because I did an arena, I have enough money for the stun boost. Arenas, if you ever want money for anything, just do an arena 2 or 3 times. You keep the money even if you fail, and nothing really takes much work to get enough money for going through the arenas. They are absolute just money piles. I do like how they sort of let you figure out things early if you want to, and it's easier for you if you do, but they always include little tutorials. This part here is just designed to teach you that you can frog slam those plants out of the ground. These ones are just sort of a more annoying version of the regular plant. There's 2 versions of a lot of enemies. Armadillos, for instance, and then these plant guys. And it's never that much crazier. In fact, I think sometimes the ones that pop up out of the ground can be a little more annoying because you tend to go for them more. I don't know. Either way, always nice to get a health upgrade. We're going to be tackling a big fight later on, so I'm going to want to have my health ready. It is definitely good to know that even though they're red, you can still dodge through the Chupacabra blast. I have no way of knowing if you can just tell visually if anything is a fire attack or not. Maybe these attacks are red, but they're not glowing red? I don't even know. Either way, people who know Spanish might think it's weird that Chupacabra translates to, literally to "it sucks on goats," or the goat sucker. They're supposedly vampires, vampire-like beings, except they only go after livestock, hence the name goat sucker. Sort of I don't know, something you might call somebody to insult them, but whatever. You can see they got some glowy areas up there, so we'll be back there later, if we can change between the world of the living and the dead. The main thing with the Chupacabras, as I said, is just management. Just make sure that you stay on top of them. It is always worth it if you ground a Chupacabra to attack it immediately, because it takes almost no time before it gets back up and flies away, and it is more than happy to basically fly out of range. These red things are way worse than either the red vines or the green acid. It just kills you instantly, and by that I mean it just instantly transports you back to the last checkpoint. So fortunately there was a store right outside of there, or excuse me, yeah, that's what I mean, a store, an altar right outside of that room, and it would have transported us back there, but if it's ever a long way to go, that's annoying. So this is going to be a major feature in the rest of the game, is shields. It's pretty easy. They've already given you color clues for a lot of the moves. The frog slam is green, the uppercut is red, and the only other move we have right now, the Olmec's headbutt, is of course yellow. Many enemies are going to start having shields. They give them to anybody. Anybody can have a shield. There are 2 more kinds of shields we'll see as time goes on. One for the last remaining directional super move, and another which is just super annoying that we will see later. The shields actually differ between regular mode and hard mode. That's one of the big differences I've noticed, especially in one of the boss fights. One of the bosses gets a shield, which makes him way worse in the hard mode. I'll show off that when time comes to it. Also notice that a lot of these places we still can't get to. Even though we have a lot of super moves, there's a couple in particular that make getting around just so much easier, and we just simply don't have them yet. Frog Slam has a pretty good radius, so you can catch 2 or 3 of these guys and... I guess he got frozen again. I've noticed with the plants is where I've seen the most bugs. Also, I didn't even realize until these playthroughs that you can toss people up in the air and then catch them. Now, it doesn't do any damage. They only take damage when they hit ground, so... Xtabay is, I think, how you say that? Xtabay? I really need to get some help on speaking the native tongue. It's Nuatl, something like that. Anyway... So this is presumably one of the members of Kalaka's crew, and because we know everybody else, I think it's probably safe to assume that that's that witch. Now, I did that Olmec's headbutt there to show off these conquistadors. They will always have a shield, as far as I know, and the annoying thing with them is attacking them with a super move different than the color of the shield they have will cause them to do a counterattack with their shield, and it's pretty damaging. It is a good counterattack. So here you can just see that they're spamming shielded skeletons at you. That's going to be more or less constant throughout the rest of the game. They love their shields. It honestly isn't that bad. The only one that I don't like the Frog Slam because it's just harder to fit that in. Now see, this is where the conquistadors are really annoying. You can see that I had to use an Olmec's headbutt to attack that Chupacabra there, and he was annoying enough that I wanted him to be my first target, but because it was different than the Conquistador's shield, he got one off on me. Their sword attack is really damaging, but it's also really easy to dodge, so it's not so bad. Well, let's investigate. Oh my goodness! It is our lost love. We better get her. Oh. Well, don't worry, lady. So I assume... I actually don't know if that was supposed to be our lost love or not, because, you know, I mean, it sure was talking like her. The fact that she's this scarecrow sort of indicates to me that she was just a trap, but maybe that really was her. I don't know. So here we see that we have some special powers because of our mask. But Xtabay, I don't know, I'm going to call her Xtabay until I hear different, is clearly the crazed lover, the witch that Kalaka has on his team. And sure enough, she told us to take a minute and reflect on our life, and that's exactly what we do. So now we can see the origin story. We want to fight a grown man. People think that's scary. Whew. War 1. So yeah, apparently we wanted the train to be a luchador, and a grown man just punched us right in the face and left us in the fields. And that's when we gave up on our dream. Anyway, Kalaka apparently does not recognize us. Kalaka, I guess. Anyway, so our Aztec-looking priestess there wants to get on Kalaka's good side. He is, of course, having none of it. I said before that I liked his team because they all seem like they have different motivations. It really strikes me as, like, if you're playing Mass Effect as a very bad renegade, what your team could be like. Like, you could basically be Kalaka. That's why I kind of like it. You know, he's assembled this ragtag team with powers. Now, this is going to look really weird. Because I'm El Portero, he actually turns me into a soccer ball. He usually turns you into a chicken. If you're in your normal suit, he turns you into a chicken. But every different costume has a different chicken form. You can hear the cawing there as I attack. You can jump, you can attack, You can't obviously do any super moves, but the goalkeeper's chicken outfit is a soccer ball, and I like that a lot. I'm now going to turn into the Alebrije, because I think this is one of the last good times to do so, well, for a couple reasons. First off, I want to be the Alebrije for an upcoming fight. Secondly, you can see, as a chicken, you can get through those small passages. You can see that they can also be hidden there. Anytime there's a little indentation like that, it means there's a chicken hole that we haven't found yet. They're quite quick, the chickens are. And secondly, you have to do a little fighting as the chicken, so I want to be the chicken for that. Now, here you can see, this is another one of those little one-time things that never comes up again. This is just, can you figure out what's happening and maneuver your way around it? I haven't recorded this part with Bundafun yet, but I kind of hope he messes this up, because I want to see him get frustrated like I did the first time I played it. The whole trick is to realize that the armadillos can't actually hurt you until they're actually charging at you. Now, because I'm in the Alebrije, I think like 1 or 2 hits from them would have killed me, and those red buzzsaws just kill you instantly, like I said before, so that would have been a shame. Yeah, like I said, you have to do a little bit of fighting. Again, for the only time in the game, you have to do a little fighting as the chicken form coming up here, and so the Alebrije just makes that go a lot faster. Because, if not, it can be... If I stayed as El Portero, who does decreased melee damage, oh, that fight would be annoying. Now, this is a hard jump to make. Fortunately, it's just acid, so it doesn't hurt you. But if you can make that jump, this is kind of a secret area down here, where you can get... There are a lot of chicken secrets in the game. Many of the things that we've seen in before now that you couldn't get were because you weren't a chicken. So increasing this really does increase your mobility. Additionally, there is sort of a secret upgrade you can get later, which makes the game just trivial. I'll show that off when it comes time for it. This is the part I was talking about. This is the only time they make you fight as a chicken in the game, so they give you just really easy arena miss here. Just with this jerk. Now, obviously, because I'm the Alebrije, even a single hit by this, you see that, takes off just half my health. So, you want to be careful with him, but we make it through pretty much unscathed, which is nice. This is annoying. This place here is just supposed to be... I think I actually end up dying here my first time, but the reason is this is just a be very slow and take things very slowly kind of arena, and obviously it gets more damaging the higher up you get because they can poke you down from below. Whatever. Sorry folks, but you have to watch that again. I'm actually not a big fan of this because it's not so much skill based, it's just as long as you take things very slowly there's almost no chance that you're going to be killed in it. Hit there, but whatever. Whatever folks, we're out. Just the last little challenge. Now, what on earth is that? We'll have to see later. And a talking rooster. Okay. Well, that's handy. I like that I was trying. Hooray! Poyo power! And there we go. That's an odd way of putting it there, Mr. Rooster. I'm not sure what your image is. I don't know. So, Xtabay is back in the original town. And she is playing Adele and sobbing. So, hooray for empowerment, I guess? Nah, she's just a love-struck person who fell in love with the wrong man skeleton thing. But, now that she's mad at him, maybe this is our chance to get some info out of her. So let's go see how easily that goes. I'm going to be honest here, though. This is my maybe one game decision that I really don't like in the game. Because the first village where we came from, Pueblucho, is just... This lady that we're going to go find is back there, and you might remember the house that was closed because a bruja, a witch, lived there. I'll just take a minute and just really enjoy the dark sun and the rain that we've seen. I really like the alternative environments. It's cool in the world of the dead. You can see that the dead apparently are more informed than the living are about what's happening, but they don't like it anymore. So it's neat to know that Kalaka is disliked by everybody. Anyway, there's nothing else in the original town in Pueblucho except for this lady. It's kind of a trek to get back there, and, I mean, they wanted to put in, I guess, a few secrets and things that you couldn't get with your just original starting powers, so I guess they have us going back there for that reason. But it's just, I don't know, it kind of feels like an out-of-the-way hassle, and everything else is organized so well. I mean, it's not that bad. We'll get a statue along the way that makes it easier to get back there and whatever, but I really thought that trumpet player was going to be the missing member of the mariachi squad, and so I spent a while trying to figure out how to get him back to the world of the living. It's actually not the missing mariachi guy. It's somebody else to complete that quest. All the signage is different, which I think is cool. There's some different things to do in this world. You might have noticed before that little cage up there. I think Bundefund actually did notice that, but as a chicken, you can get in there. And you can find that. If you want to scan that, go ahead. I have actually done so myself, and it just brings up a web page saying, congratulations, you successfully scanned a barcode. So, hooray, I guess? I don't know. Maybe there's something else hidden in there that's like a neat trick, but that's the only... I didn't find anything besides that. Pinata store has skeleton pinatas. They just did so much work making this game twice, which I guess explains the shortness of it, if you think about it. Anyway, now we gotta hoof it back to Pueblucho. And because of my earlier commitment to take out enemies in my way, I'm going to be attacking everybody that I see along the way. Before too long, I'm just going to be skipping past enemies. You reach a certain point where you really don't need much more money. And look at that. One bone, half my health. The Alebrije is a great suit. It's probably my favorite, but boy, it sure does have its disadvantages. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to attack everybody in this screen, but I'm not going to go looking for fights. There are some more bonus opportunities in the forest here. I'm going to show those off in a bonus video in a little bit. Actually, if I'd been thinking, I probably would have got those bonus things so I could have dealt with the boss fight up here more easily, but whatever. So this arena is annoying just because it has these guys with the red shield on. The plants with the red shield end up being super annoying because you have to waste a super move on them just to get them out of the ground, and that doesn't hurt them at all. And people recover more quickly if you do an attack that doesn't hurt them. There's a longer recovery time if they've been injured and all, so that can be pretty annoying. But that wasn't bad at all. Now, you might just keep going, but you might notice that little hidden chicken path down there, and good for you if you do. That skull lever, if you pull it, a clock starts ticking, and it runs out eventually, so you can tell that some timed thing has happened, but you are unable to find out what's happened for a while, actually. That was kind of an annoying thing. I didn't want to look up spoilers the first time I played this game, so I was left wondering what that did for kind of a long time, actually. Until just about the end of the game. I said you get an Olmec head, and there it is, and this is where Jaguar Javier knocked you off the bridge your very first time, so that might be a little nostalgia coming back. And they do provide you, I guess, with a decent number of things you can do now that you couldn't before, and you are in the world of the dead, which you weren't before. Okay, I take it back. This is fine. I don't mind. It's just that everything else is so central, and this just feels like going off to a hub. I don't know. It's like if you're used to living downtown in a big city, and then you have to go out to one end of the bus hub or the, underground hub to meet somebody. See, I'm getting snobby, just like Central New Yorkers do. This used to be that cool graveyard, and notice that he's preparing a feast there. That might be a reference to how people make food on Dia de los Muertos. I'm not actually sure. He might be using the food provided for them. Who knows? So, there's a few things to be doing back here in Pueblucho. The only thing I'm really going to do before I fight the Bruja, though, is go totally clear out one location. The Mansion of El Presidente. You may have noticed before that there was a chest hanging up here in the rafters. It's just a money chest, but, this clears out the location for us, and it gives us 500 coins, which is also nice. I don't think I can quite afford a new health upgrade. I think it's like 1,800 for that, and I didn't want to grind. So, you know what? We're just going to go down and see this lady right now. Forget safety. So she apparently lives in a house with a huge picture of herself. Uh-huh. Well, we both do care about El Presidente's daughter more than her. Now, obviously, it is a terrible idea to respond to this, and I'm pretty sure that Bundefund won't, which is why I chose to say yes. Oof. Now, there's really no difference, except you start the fight with a little bit of health off. I'm almost sure he's going to say no to this, is the reason that I chose to show that off. So obviously, she is some kind of death witch. There are numerous references to that, and in fact, Xtabay is a character in South American legend and lore, which I'll be talking about at some point in time. She's got 3 things that she does at this point in the fight. Look how much damage I'm taking off. The first one is that she appears in a bubble like that and causes winged hearts, fly-winged hearts to erupt from her. That's not too bad, and you can dodge through it. The second is she shows up in the middle of the screen there and screams and causes you to enter Hell World or whatever. I guess in the world of the living, it's like that, because in the world of the dead, it's like it is now. And the third is what she did there. Appear and scream, and then this little homing thing flies after you. It's not really that hard to dodge. This fight's only really frustrating when Hell World's out there. Just keep moving and you'll be fine for that part. So now we hit part 2, and actually if you die, they reset you to this point, not the beginning of the fight, which is really nice. Also, if you're attacking her and she hits the ground, she teleports away, so you want to do as much damage as you can. She has 3 attacks here. The first is that breath attack that we saw earlier, that one there. The second is she screams and causes the rain cloud, and that's the third one, sort of this jump attack. You can dodge through all 3 of them, meaning if you stay on your toes, this really isn't a hard part of the fight. You want to use those super moves that you bought because, especially the pile driver, the Olmec's headbutt does a huge amount of damage too, but those 2 just do a lot of damage. So this is the third section of the fight. They also take you, I think they only take you back to, no, I actually think they will take you to this part of the fight too if you lose again, where she splits into 3. Now, you can take out all 3 of these parts, and it's very recommended that you do so, because you see I get health that gives me back my little health bits there. And this third part of her will show up after a while anyway, and it's just so much easier to fight 2 parts than it is to fight 3. When you take out her shields, they're gone for a particular amount of time, even if she teleports, and so it's always advisable to do that and then get her when she teleports again. The yellow shield one is her true self, so you can just concentrate on that and knock her to pieces. She is not so bad. Some of the other fights later are a lot more annoying than her, but once you know her deal, she is not bad at all. Alright, I'll shut up for this cinematic here, so let's find out about Kalaka's story. Wow. So, Kalaka's kind of pathetic, actually, when it comes right down to it. He is a glory hound who wanted to be the best cowboy in the land. That's what that Xtabay is, basically, a cowboy. So, he won the heart of Xtabay, somehow. I know I'm mispronouncing that. Managed to usurp the devil himself, and is now trying to merge the worlds of the living and the dead. Of course, that's how we get our power from her, one of those fly-winged hearts, because she's horrible. So yeah, that is 2 powers of getting around right in a row. We can change dimensions now, and we can turn into a chicken. Xtabay, I am pretty sure that Fry is not going to want to be with you. So, I think with the Alabrije dead, and his sorceress officially off his team, Kalaka is definitely getting weakened. We have defeated our first real boss, we have received our just rewards, and that is enough for one update, I think. So I will see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing how Bundafun does on this section. Alright, Bacter out.